can shape our students' behavior using our positive working relationship with the student to modify maladaptive behaviors. To accomplish this goal, we need to assess our students' needs and wants while regulating our own emotions and the verbal and nonverbal signals we project towards the student. Outwardly, we see behaviors, but like an iceberg, there is great substance beneath the surface. Behaviors stem from internal processes within the individual based around his or her needs, feelings, and wants. Behaviors are a way to communicate what the student feels inside. Behavior has four main purposes: to access a preferred item or location, to escape or avoid a not-preferred item or task. The difference between escape and avoid is when the behavior begins. If the behavior begins before the non-preferred activity is presented, it is labeled an avoid. If it occurs after the non-preferred activity is presented, the behavior is escape motivated. Attention behaviors are to get noticed by a particular individual or group of individuals. Self-stimulatory behaviors are behaviors that meet a sensory need for the person. The antecedent is what happens immediately before the behavior begins. Antecedents are shaped by event settings that include the student's feelings and needs. The consequence is what happens after the behavior occurs. It is important to note that when describing behavior modification, the consequence does not mean getting in trouble. Let's look at the stress model of crisis and the progression of behavior episodes. Before the crisis episode, the student is at low arousal. Note everyone's low arousal state manifests differently. Some may be more jovial, while others more anxious. A triggering event happens and bumps the level of arousal up a notch. The student is visibly agitated, but the behavior remains relatively controlled. If interventions are not done to bring the child back to a low-level arousal state, an outburst will likely occur. This is a violent episode marked by little self-control. Recovery occurs when the student returns to their low arousal state. It is important to note that a person can move through the phases quickly. To modify behavior, we can use proactive strategies to change the antecedent. For example, a student may not have the fine motor skills needed for using regular scissors and acts out in frustration. Providing the student with adaptive scissors is an excellent way to change the antecedent and minimize maladaptive behaviors. It is also important to look at the consequence of past similar behavioral episodes. If the behavior elicited the intended response, it will likely reoccur. Reinforcement increases the likelihood of a particular behavior. Positive reinforcement is the addition of a stimulus, and negative reinforcement is the removal of a stimulus. Being paid is a positive reinforcement. The addition of money increases the future likelihood of work. Alarm clocks work under the principle of negative reinforcement. The removal of the intrusive sound increases the likelihood of waking up. Beware that maladaptive behaviors can be unintentionally reinforced in our students. When a caregiver gives in to a child's persistent requests or tantrums, the behavior has been reinforced in the child. To keep this from occurring, have clear and consistent behavior expectations. Remember to consider the function of the behavior when shaping behavior. If the student is acting out in order to escape or avoid work, time away actually ends up rewarding the behavior. Always use positive reinforcement to reward good behavior. Interactions with the students have to be overwhelmingly positive to strengthen rapport and build confidence and independence in the student.
Created using Powtoon.